The greatest impact I've seen from the ALLS program is the fact that it's accelerated learning. It's not just the normal progress a child would make. And because it's accelerated learning, what's happening to the teachers is they're focusing very much on the specifics of their learning needs of those children, these priority children in particular. And because they're focusing their thinking and their resourcing towards those children, that's what is accelerating the learning. It's like unpacking something. They're unpacking the writing and getting right to the core of what's needed. The impact we've seen is with this ALLS program, as soon as it's gone into a classroom, and it's almost like reverting back to the days when we did a lot of group work, as soon as it's gone into a classroom, we're seeing that group of children just lift and move because they're engaging in more depth with the teacher, they're actually engaging in more depth with their own learning, and it's monitored. And it's the other thing that's happening is sometimes it's in the classroom environment and sometimes it's not. And that in itself is a real strength. Instead of being taken out of the classroom all the time or being left in the classroom where there's, after a few weeks, could be distractions and it could be minimised, the impact, that's why that's so powerful. So the accelerated aspect of ALLS is very, very important. We've seen it stretch or cross over into the other classrooms now, so other teachers are picking it up. And to see the reaction of the teachers once they start do their planning and they start reflecting on what they've done and the impact, it's amazing to see how they really take it on board. And it motivates them, it drives them towards improving that student achievement.
All you people have been working on what we call a special program, and it's called ALL, and that stands for Accelerated Learning and Literacy. And you people, accelerated means to go really fast and to move from where you were to the next level. And you need to give yourselves all a pat on the back right now, because every one of you excuse me, has made amazing progress in your writing. So today we've got you here to kind of celebrate what you've done, but also for you to share with us some of the things that you've learned about yourselves as writers, and some of the things that you might want to share with your group that you've not been able to talk about. So what we're going to do is we've got some questions, and you're going to go with your wonderful ALLS teacher, and you're going to go to the question and you're going to sit there and you're going to talk about the question and what you think, what you're doing in writing about that. It might be, questions like, how do you know that you're getting better at writing? And you'll talk about those things. And your teacher is going to write down all the answers that you, and all the comments you have. So you don't have to do any writing whatsoever today.
Do we not do any writing on Friday? Don't we? What do we do on a Friday that's writing?
Publishing.
Is that writing?
Yes.
So it's publishing. What's another time when we do writing?
Right. We write on our iPad sometimes.
We do. What sort of things do we use on the iPad when we're writing?
We do handwriting.
Handwriting? So iPads? Games? So what game is that one, sorry? The alphabet game.
The ABC game. Maths game.
Oh dear. Do we write when we play the next game?
No. Yes.
What game do we write when we do? There's one game I know that you write when you play it.
I want you thinking about
It's the ABCs.
we need to be
Yep,
thinking
what
about
ABC? Cool.
It's the maths
we need to
game
go
when
somewhere
you have to
foreign
try and
to-
figure out what the numbers like 1 plus 1 equals 2.
Wonderful. So that's our basic. these are all things that make you get better, but how do you actually know you're getting better?
You like making your stories
How
more
do you know in
interesting?
your own mind that your stories have got better?
By adding more.
But how do you know you've improved?
Oh,
Does anyone tell you you've improved?
Or maybe we've been writing the words. Maybe we've been writing the words and it could be correct or it couldn't.
Yeah. So when you share your stories,
Wait. Maybe if you share stories and people don't know that the words are not correct, then maybe you could try do it again, but ask someone to help you
yeah, so you ask
if
for
they know
help.
the word.
Yeah, but we can.
Tell me about your writing and your learning goals in writing, and what can you do well, and how do you know what your learning goals are?
Okay, so let's start with that. How do we know what our learning goals are, and go backwards from there, because we don't know. We'll go from there to there. So how did we know what our learning goals? What did we discuss? What did we talk about?
We know what our learning goals are because people can tell us if we're having a bit of trouble on things or not.
Cool. And that you choose your goals from there. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So what were some of your learning goals in writing while we were doing this?
One of mine was use feelings.
Why?
I wanted to use feelings because I wanted to make the reader remember if they felt that feeling in my story before.
Was what things in the room help you to write? And the very first obvious things popped up. What were they, Alize?
Pens, pencils.
And other writing tools. They were all obvious things that we need to write. We need to be able to write things down with if we're writing on paper. Okay, but there were other things too that came up. What one was your one that you thought of, Lorelei? One of the ones you thought of. That helps us to write.
Pictures.
Pictures. Pictures help us to write. Gets our imagination going. What else helps us to write? We've got drawing and labelling. Drawing and planning. Writing, drawing our plans and going from there. Writing with a buddy or a friend. Alize?
Can you share some examples of what you have been learning in writing? So first of all, we had to decide what learning was. So what was learning for us? What does learning mean to us?
We need to find out something that you don't already know.
That clear enough? Yep. And so we had that. So it's things about learning to get better at something, which is what Nico had, or learning something that you didn't know and now you do know. So then we went back. How do we record our learning? You guys, who wants to share some of the things we've put down here? How do we record it? Go on, Cameron. Loud voice.
Doing more interesting words, glittering, track, and
And
description.
description. And that means that was an example that Cameron showed in his writing, because he was talking about a track and he said a slippery, glittering track, whereas in his previous story he just wrote, well, actually a bush.
If you ever find yourself stuck in the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. If you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't.
We met as a group to begin with. We looked at our planning, shared ideas,
of how we would plan together. We shared resources, motivational ideas, and had incidental discussions with each other during the time and offered each other lots of support.
So we had 12 weeks to accelerate the children, so we split it into 3 4-week blocks. The children were double taught for the duration of the program. The first 4 weeks was setting up the program. We did the planning, the talking and the discussion. Then we had the 4 weeks out of class, which was for the intense acceleration, and that was 4 days a week for 45 minutes. Then we had 4 weeks back in the class for the children to begin using what they had learnt and to become go-to children with their peers.
I believe that acceleration was for us to move the students forward as fast as we can, more than what we would expect them to normally. We did this by using deliberate acts of teaching and knowing each step that each child had to take along the process and make them small and manageable toward their greater goal.
Teaching and writing meant that I was focused and ready to make changes. I reviewed a number of resources and researched a variety of ways to reach my reluctant writers. On reflection, I noticed that the extra attention that these students had was beneficial to their motivation and their capacity. As the sessions progressed, the students became more articulate and could share their thinking easily, both orally and using mapping templates.
1. I found the impact within my class was that the children, even though I had a target group of kids that I was working with, and the rest of the class were working independently with peers, with tutors and writers, the attitude within the class changed dramatically, and they all seemed to take a leadership role with their writing, wanting to assist and help and support other learners, even learners that were more able than themselves, and they seemed to take more pride in that aspect of the writing and were more willing to take on new skills and new aspects of writing.